Okay,
Here's a pen.
we shall begin. Okay, do you know why you're all here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and when we're talking about trope, what are we talking about? What is trope? You're here to learn it.
How you say it.
Isn't it the musical notes?
It's exactly what it is. So, is there anybody here who knows how to read music? Well, we have one. I don't know if I'm actually being seen on this. Hopefully I am, but I'm in front of the camera, so I'm hoping that I am. I wish that whoever is actually a part of this would be able to tell me whether they're seeing anything.
Can they type a hello to you or something that, or
They
can
could,
you type to them? Or?
not really, but they're on, so hopefully that is
Can I do
a
it from
good
my
sign.
phone?
We're just going to assume that. I'm sorry?
Could you invite me via, and probably, and I could,
It's hard to do that now. I think
Okay.
we're just going to try to move forward, and then if there are any problems, we will work them out for the next session. So anyway, if you know how to read music, obviously you have musical notes, and that tells you how to do it. Well, this is a totally unique grouping of symbols. And what I figured I would do before we dig into this, that maybe we do just a little bit of explanation in history, like who was the person who thought of this cockamamie system of putting these notes together anyway? Who do we have to blame for all of the difficulty that we are having with this? So let's, of course, the person is unnamed. There is.
I assumed it was you. 'Cause
Yeah, when you see how long this has gone on, you'll realize, unless you think I'm really, really old, this is a little bit before me. Anyway, this was we also call this cantillation. And it's a ritual chanting of readings, and it's a very ancient note system, more ancient than I. So there was originally a Babylonian system, then there was a Palestinian system, and then the latest one was a Tiberian system, which was much more intricate, had many more notes, and it goes back to the 10th century of the Common Era. And there are many subsets of based upon whether it's Sephardic. Who was up in that corner? Oh, I see somebody now. This is good. Okay. Can you identify yourself? You have a microphone? It's nice to see a person up there. If not, it's okay. If you can hear me, can you put a thumbs up? Can you hear me? Thumbs up?
a little higher.
Above your head.
Okay. Way up in the air. Raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay. I don't really know if you can hear me. Okay, let's see. Here, manage participants. Okay. And we've got that going. How about?
Why don't you get rid of the mute button?
Get rid of it.
Well, I mean, does it say that?
All participants are unmuted. Can you hear me? Okay, we're going to do the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as we were going through this system here that's on the board, we said that there are many subsets based upon Ashkenazic or Sephardic. There is a software program called Trope Trainer. And when you go into Trope Trainer, there's a drop-down box, and it gives you all of these different options for subsets. In other words, when I teach you trope, there are probably about 28 other versions based upon country of origin or dialect. So there's a Lubavitch trope, there's a Lithuanian trope, and I didn't even know what I was using or what I was teaching until I started going through these various things and went, I'm Hungarian. And the interesting thing is that I am actually Hungarian. My grandmother was Hungarian.
My
And, and, ah,
7 brothers and sisters.
ah. And my bar mitzvah tutor, it turned out, was also Hungarian. And lo and behold, that's why I was taught Hungarian. And that, of course, is what I gravitated toward. But the main thing that you need to know is that it's all kosher. So that if you go to a different synagogue and you notice some stylistic or dialectical differences, they're just as good as we are, and vice versa. Those are just little differences in terms of the sounds of those various trope notes. And the other name for the cantillation is a nigun, or a niggy note in Hebrew, or trope in Yiddish, or trope in English. Now, there's another thing that you hear sometimes which is a nigun. And a nigun would be a melody. And often a nigun is referred to as a song without words, okay? So sometimes you hear services begin with people going, yai da 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 yai da 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 da, and what it is, it's a mood setter, not the same nigun. Okay, this is a nigun specifically referring to the cantillation. It is not the nigun that is used as a melody without words that you hear during services. Okay, so here is a little bit more about, I hear somebody. Hello there, can you speak? You say, hi, how are you?
Hi,
Who's with us?
this is Loretta Coleman Wickman. I'm having a little problem. So I'm not in Chicago, and the computer I was supposed to use, they trying to get a letter out. So
I see. Well, it's working. Are you able to see what I have on the board as well?
yes.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. So you'll just try to absorb as much as you can. And Loretta, what I'll do too is I will email you a copy of the trope sheet and a recording that we're all going to be using in order to practice some of this until the next time. So I have your email address, and I'll make sure I get you that after this session is over. Okay? Where are you? Are you out of town?
Yes.
What city are you in?
I'm in Augusta, Georgia.
Augusta, Georgia. Okay. Just always interested in knowing how far we're going out there. All right. So anyway, when we're talking about trope, we're discussing Torah trope, how to read the Torah. This is, it's really difficult being a Jew. I don't know if you know that. Because if you look at trope, look at how many other alternatives there are. Okay, so we have, by the way, what do we call the Jewish Bible?
Torah.
That's only one little piece.
Mm-hmm. Tanakh.
Thank you. Tanakh. Okay, so we're dealing with there's this assumption that there's the Old Testament and the New Testament, and that's the distinction between Judaism and Christianity. Not really true. The Tanakh refers to the first part, Torah. That's the T sound. Okay, and then you have Nevi'im. What are Nevi'im? Do you know what those are? Prophets.
Right.
Okay, and then you have Ketuvim, which stands for what?
Psalm.
Writings. Okay, and in the writings you have Psalms, and you have Esther and Ruth and all the other good stuff. So you actually have the Jewish Bible being referred to as Tanakh, okay, and that is an acronym. So the reason I bring that up is that there are different tropes depending upon which particular part of Tanakh you're talking about. So in Torah, you have 5 books of Moses, and that's what we're working on. the regular weekday or Shabbat Torah reading. But as I think I mentioned to some of you, I'm working with kids right now. I'm learning Torah for the high holidays, and that has a totally different sound to it. So just because it's Torah doesn't mean that it's the same Torah melody that you're used to. Yes, Lynn?
Do all of these different tropes have the same symbols but a different sound?
I hate to tell you, yes, they do.
Okay. They have the
So,
same
you know, they all look exactly the same, but depending upon which particular thing we're working on, whether it's High Holiday, whether it's Haftorah, whether it is Lamentations, they all look the same but sound different. So that's where I made that comment about not easy being a Jew. So we have High Holiday used for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Then we have Haftorah, which is, some of you have worked with me on that already. Again, that's why kids are challenged, because I work with them on Haftorah, and then I say, okay, now we're going to learn Torah trope. They have to turn one off, turn the other one on, and learn both sometimes simultaneously. And then we have the trope for Megillat Esther, okay, for Purim. Then we have Megillat Echa, which is for the Book of Lamentations. And for those people who are going to attend Tisha B'Av services, which is in a couple of weeks, we're going to have on a Sunday morning, you're going to hear something that is completely different. Just for fun, after we finish going through this, I'm going to just take the same passage and sing it a few different ways so that you can sense what the difference is. Not that you have to remember anything. And then finally, at the bottom, we have for major pilgrimage festivals. Okay, you know what the pilgrimage festivals are?
Pesach and Sukkot.
And Shavuot. Okay. All right. So they have a unique sound as well. Let's see how good I am with this, just to flip it back here. Oh, here we go. All right. So let's get rid of this. So if this were Torah, it would go like this. Vayehi achar hadvarim ha'ele v'ha'elohim nisa et Abraham vayomer elav Abraham vayomer hineni. So that's just the first sentence. Switch to Haftorah, and it's Vayehi achar hadvarim ha'ele Elohim Nisa et Abraham Vayomer elav Abraham Vayomer hineni. Now we get mournful, and we go to the Book of Lamentations. Achar hadvarim ha'eleh Elohim Nisa et Abraham Vayomer elav Abraham Vayomer hineni. You know, it's a totally different sound. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. And the next slide. So what I'm doing is planting all this stuff in your mind to drive you crazy. Function of cantillation symbols, and they are called te'amim, is the name of the symbols. Originally designed for a few different purposes. For syntax, actually allows you to judge the grammar, because as you know, when you are reading Torah, there's no punctuation, there are no notes. So the melody that you assign to this actually will guide you as to when a sentence ends or which groupings of words stick together. So what we're going to be focusing on after learning some of the basic symbols is what are the normal combinations which blend together. It's used for phonetics, and obviously it's used for music. And I sort of like this little saying down here. So if you really wonder why you want to have music involved, it says the practice of reading scripture with a melody is an ancient one. The Talmud suggests that a bad fate will befall anyone who reads from the Torah without a pleasant melody. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Some of you might be intimidated by this.
We're in trouble.
But you want to know, a number of you have studied with me, and you're still here. So I guess the bad fate may not have occurred. So, all right. And now we get to this, and let me move Loretta out of the way on my screen here. All right. So what we're going to do today is just go from here to here, which is your sof pasuk. And sof pasuk refers to end of sentence. And what you're going to hear, just like when Loretta signed on, you heard a bum bum. Okay, that is going to be your symbol, your sound for when a sentence ends, like a doorbell. But what we're going to do now is work on a number of these notes right here. And then in the second session next week, we're going to do another set of symbols. And then what we're going to do is take actual passages from the Torah and try to apply those symbols to those passages. But right now, we're going to start right here with a kadma. And it's this symbol that I'm pointing to right here. So these are the actual names of the symbols. And it goes kadma, kadma. That doesn't sound too hard, does it?
No.
Can you try that? I knew you could. I feel like Mr. Rogers. Okay. Gosh, all I need is like a little sweater here.
Right.
Put on a comfortable pair of shoes.
That cardigan, yeah.
And then we can sing Won't Keep You My Neighbor. Okay. Kadma. With me. Kadma. Okay. Jay, show me what you can do.
Kadma.
Kadma.
Kadma. Kadma.
Kadma.
Hey, Loretta, you with us?
Yes.
You want to sing Kadma?
Kadma.
You're the best of all the way from Augusta, Georgia. That's pretty good. All right, so the next part, we have a munach, which is this little backwards L here, and a zarka, which is a little squiggly on top here, and it is almost always followed by a segol, which is the three dots on top, and occasionally with another munach. The thing you're going to learn about a munach is not all munachs were created equal. In essence, what it means is a munach assimilates or changes based upon what note follows it. So you're going to hear some of them, a munach sounding one way, but then you're going to hear a munach a different way depending upon what follows it. Now, most of you are probably not old enough to remember what I'm going to be suggesting here. But the munach zarka sounds very much like a Nestle's chocolate commercial. And the Nestle's chocolate used to have a little puppet that used to come on. You're way too young. You're just a child.
It's
Right.
possible.
Okay, but the commercial used to go like this. Nestle's makes the very best. Then the chocolate. Yeah, but forget that part of it. Okay, but Nestle's makes the very best. So when we sing Munach Zarka, it went Munach Zarka. Okay, which makes me think that whoever worked on this actually was an observant Jew who wrote the jingle for Nestle's chocolate because he probably plagiarized. He basically stole a trope note and made a jingle out of it. That's I don't know who I'm going to choose here because I don't know who wrote the
Irving
jingle.
Berlin.
Right.
Irving Berlin wrote the Nestle's jingle.
All the other American classes.
All right, so we can all go thinking about Nestle's chocolate, which makes me hungry. Munach Zarka. One more time. Munach Zarka. So what we're going to do is we're going to build. We're going to build by continuing to add additional words, but always going back to the beginning to reinforce what we already know. Okay, and that is a key to studying, and it's the way that I always teach kids to study when they're working on a Torah portion. Always make it like a puzzle where you keep adding a piece and you go back and you keep making it longer. You go back to the beginning and you make it a little bit longer. So all of my students get Simonized. Am I waxing poetic? No, there was. All right. So we go
You
back.
waxed on and you went
Well,
off.
Mr. Miyagi.
Right, Mr. Yagi.
All right.
I'm very lucky we're recording.
It's good that we're recording. Is this evidence
Thank you
that
for
I'm losing my
remembering
mind?
it,
Is that
I would
okay.
be saying other things.
All right, so going back to Kadma, Munach, Zarka. Do it without me.
Kadma, Munach, Zarka.
All right, now we go to the Munach Segol, and a Segol with these three little dots up here goes Munach Segol, Munach Segol, Munach Segol. Your turn.
Munach, Segol.
Very good. Now, when I'm going to email you the recording to this so that you can get it on your computer, the main thing is that when you are practicing, that you don't sing with me, sing after me. And the reason is that if you're singing with me, you're hearing yourself, you're not hearing me. So if you're making a mistake, you're reinforcing the mistake instead of hearing the right way to do it first and then repeating it. Capiche? Yes, okay. Don't mind if I speak Hebrew here, do you? Okay, so Munach Segol.
Munach, Segol.
Back to the beginning, listen to me do the 5 words. Kadma, Munach, Zarka, Munach Segol. You're on.
Kadma, Munach, Seka, Munach, Segol.
All right, now we come to the Munach. And when a Munach is followed by this little vertical line, they actually call that a Munach Legarme. And when you hear the recording, I actually, being a little schizo, I might do it 2 different ways. The actual way that most people do it is Munach, or I might just go Munach. So I abbreviate it sometimes. So Munach, do that.
Munach,
And then we go to Munach Revi'i. Go down 4 steps. Munach Revi'i. Okay, so we have Munach, Munach Revi'i.
Munach,
Munach
Revi.
So Pat actually started with Haftorah with me, and the Revi'i went Revi'i, and now she had to shift it to Revi'i. So it really would have been nice if with trope, if they had a different set of symbols instead of using the same ones all the time. But I don't have the motivation to rewrite everything, so we're going to go with what has been used for centuries. Sorry. I just don't have that motivation. So back to the beginning. Listen to me do it all the way from here. That's what happened. I
Yeah,
forgot that it's touch activated. Now I put the calendar on. I'm going to use this instead. It's a lot better. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go from here all the way to there. And I'd like you to repeat it after me after I do it once through. Kadma munach zarka munach sego munach revi'i. From the top.
Kadma Muna Saka Muna Sego Muna
Munach.
Muna Revi.
Okay, this is a little bit like, for you old timers out there, like Mitch Miller. Follow the bouncing
Sing
ball.
ball.
Oh, isn't that
Could
neat?
you do that one again that we were struggling with?
Munach.
Nah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you know, there are certain things that are done that are more frequent. Because sometimes you'll find you get lucky enough to have a Torah portion and it doesn't have a lot of these notes. But everyone is going to have the following part, which is your mapach, hashta, munach, zakef katon. Everyone. And the other one that everyone will have is down here, the mercha, tipcha, munach et nachta. And since every sentence ends, you're going to wind up having the double dot, which in essence is your period. Okay, so, but let's go back to the mapach. And it goes like this. Mapach, pashta, mapach, pashta. So that's one you have to remember. Mapach, pashta. Okay, so this is your mapach under it. As you see, some of the trope notes are under the words, and some of them are above the words. Now you look at this and say, wait a minute, the pashta over here looks an awful lot like the kadma, which is over there. So what's the difference? The difference is where it appears in the word. A pashta, as you see, is at the very end of the word, whereas a kadma, which is a little different sound, is on the interior of the word. So that is why you have that distinction. Yes, Chair recognizes Lynn.
Are those always in combination?
The mapach pashta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is that sideways arrow, is that part of it? That's significant?
That is the actual symbol for the mapach.
Okay.
Mapach. Whenever you see that, the word goes mapach. Okay, so or if it would be, if you'd have the word atah in it, and you see underneath atah, yeah, that symbol, it would be atah. Sometimes you'll see a baruch with a kadma, and it would be baruch. And then you'd have, ooh. Let's go back to a share. Ooh, what happened here? Let's go back and share. There we go. And
I'll let this.
where did we go here? All of a sudden, went away.
How about that scan?
I think I gotta go back to, let's see. Go back up here, and back to this, and open, and there it is, and then we go back to here, and share. Loretta, do you not see anything anymore?
I don't see anything.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's see what we can do here.
Try going up to where it says Smart Link up top, maybe. See if the share pops up there.
It's not. Okay. Zoom and share. Why am I not?
Can you just share your
I'll
screen?
just say share.
Yeah. What's this one?
Yes.
Just keeps going down, right?
Okay. Okay, I think I got it.
There it is.
Okay, Loretta, you should see it again.
Yes.
Thank you. That's good. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulty. Please stand by. Here we go. Ma pa pashta. Repeat.
Pashta.
And then we have the munach sounding a little bit different. Munach, munach. And then you have the two dots up here, which is your symbol for zakef katon, which goes zakef katon. So ultimately, when you really start getting into this, you're going to pick up on a theme. The theme of Torah reading.
Up and down.
Da da dum bum ba dum ba ba da dum bum ba dum ba da 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 la da da dum. Here comes the doorbell. Okay, that's how it would go. And the only difference in the end of a sentence is one which actually finishes the aliyah, which distinguishes the end of the aliyah from the other sentences as they conclude.
Is this the doorbell?
The doorbell would be right here.
Oh, right there.
Pasuk.
Sorry.
Right. Pasuk being your sentence, so pasuk, the end of the sentence. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning here because we might be pushing on a little bit too far too fast. Okay, and you know, if we want to not go beyond that that spot, I have no problem if we're going to make people more comfortable. Yes.
Is this all the tropes?
Yeah.
Cool. Like
Yeah.
to know where we're going.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's always good to know when something's a little more finite.
Right.
You know. Okay. So, Kadma Munach Zarka Munach Seko. We'll do that part.
Kadma Muna Saka Muna Sego.
And we have Munach Revi'i.
Muna, Muna,
Good. Ma pa pashta munach zakef katon.
Mapa Ashta
Muna,
Okay, then we have this symbol right here, which is known as the zakef gadol, and it goes zakef gadol. So whenever you see that symbol, it goes la da 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 zakef gadol. One more time. Zakef gadol. Yourselves.
Zakev Gadol.
We are nearing the end of this sentence. This is going to be fairly easy. We have Mercha Tivcha, which is here, and then you have Mercha Tivcha repeated again. So you're getting a double dose of it. It goes Mercha Tivcha, Mercha Tivcha, and then another munach, slightly different, followed by the shovel down here, otherwise known as an etnachta. You see it right here? Okay. Okay, that is the etnachta symbol, and it's preceded by the munach, and it goes munach etnachta, munach etnachta. So we put these four words together. This is a normal grouping. Mercha Tivcha, Munach et nachta. Go ahead.
Timcha, Munach et Nachta.
Back to the beginning. Kadma. Go ahead.
Kadma, Munach, Zarka. Munach, Sego. Munach, Munach, Revi. Mapach, Pashta. Munach, Shekef Katon. Zakef Gadol. Timcha, Munach et Nachta.
And for today, here's the big finish, folks. Mercha tipcha, then the doorbell. Sof pasuk. Mercha tipcha, sof pasuk. There's the doorbell. Okay. Hi, George. They've called you.
Right.
Okay. You're shaking
Don't
your
bet the
head,
ranch.
Lois. Lois,
Oh.
you shaking your head?
No.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
You just got confused. It was going the wrong way. I got it.
Shaking my head. Sure.
Like the Nestle's.
That's right.
The
at
second
beginning.
Zarka.
Muna Zarka. That kind of stuff works, you know, when
Yeah.
you think about a jingle or something, and that tends to be a prompter. So that works. So let's together one more time go through this, and then I'm going to talk about what the goal is of this whole thing. What are we going to do with this? As opposed to just learning these sheets, let's try to figure out how we're going to be able to apply them. All right? So we'll look at the big picture. And Loretta, this will apply to you too, because I'm going to work with Rabbi Fournier so that we can have, your, grand appearance on 66th and Kedzie. And we can work on a little section for you to read utilizing your newfound skill. Okay? All right. All right. So I thought that Yahat was going to be a part of this as well, but I guess he might have to catch it on video.
We had one of our elders, they had her service today.
Oh, I see. Okay.
She was the oldest one at the temple. She was 97.
I see. I understand. All right. Well, you know what? He'll be able to pick up on the video for what he missed today, and then he can come in and pick up the rest of it. Or, I have no problem meeting with him independently, whatever he would like. All right. So back to the beginning. Let's do it through here one more time, and then we're going to talk about the whole project together. Kadma Muna Zarka Muna Sego Muna Revi Mapach Pashta Muna Zakef Gadol Mercha Tipcha Munach et Nachta Mercha Tipcha Sof Pasuk. Now just, as a little sneak preview. On the back here, there are some specialty notes, and I'm probably not going to teach them to you. And the reason is this. For example, a shalshelet note appears in the Torah 4 times in the entire year. So it's highly unlikely that if you're going to read Torah, you're going to have a shalshelet. And if I teach, she's going to get?
Yeah.
And if I were going to teach you shalshelet, and I said, shalshelet, you're going to say, what? And if you don't practice something, you're not going to remember it unless it's something like a mapach pashta that you have in every single reading.
Why
So-
is that though, that it's only 4 times?
Normally, you remember how we talked about it? It would have some syntactical or phonetic reason? Well, for some reason, the word which it is attached to is being highlighted based upon the significant sound that is being attached to the word.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. So it's a special word, event, whatever it might be for that particular parsha.
And if we would want to hear it, where are the 4 times in the Torah?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
We probably tell
I
you.
will be
just
more
say-
than happy to identify that. Yeah, I'll let you know.
You know,
Yeah.
and this one's
Oh,
for my group.
Oh, could you imagine that in the synagogue announcement saying everybody should come because there's a shalshelim?
That's right.
Everybody's
Oh,
going to.
what's the season?
Sorry,
We would
but,
be excited.
you know,
Would-
I,
yeah.
I have to. I have to
$14,
shampoo my
you
hair
know.
that day. You know?
Spirit hands for you, you know?
So anyway, let's just take a look at the picture of a Torah portion that I had up here. And so let's just say that I would give you an assignment, and it would be what I highlighted here. So this would be a little portion. So what I would do is once we finish this, I would find a portion like this, and I would give it to you, and we would work independently on taking this page and putting it side by side with the portion that I give you, and I would say, without using a recording, I want you to tell me how you would apply those notes on that cantillation page with the portion that I gave you. That's the idea, that you learn this so well that you're going to be able to take these notes and apply them to a portion that I give you. And I'm very patient. Okay, so if you
We
don't
know
get it right,
that.
if you don't
We
get it
applaud
right,
your patience.
yeah, we will do it again and again. Yes.
So the munach, all those munach, that's really part of it. It's not just for practice.
It's part of it, and it modifies based upon what follows it. That's what makes it a little more challenging. A munach with a revi'i versus a munach with a zarka or a munach et nachta, they sound a little bit different.
He gave us 5 combinations of it.
So how do you practice? What I end up
You
doing.
practice it based upon really listening to the recording that
But what I
can
end
give
up
you.
doing is I end up memorizing this rather than paying attention. So what I should do is just look at the tropes.
You should look at the trope.
I mean, not the
Right.
but the
Trope mark.
trope mark.
Mm-hmm. And as we work together on things, we can
That's what I have to do.
we can give you different combinations, words with different munachs on it. How would you do this one based upon what follows it? How would you do this one? Okay, so
Cool.
we will go
Short
through
little
this.
phrases.
We'll give you a portion. Do you see anything familiar in here already?
You highlight.
Take a look at the first sentence.
Is that the revi'i?
That's a revi'i. So how did you do a revi'i on the sheet?
How do I do it? Revi'i.
Revi'i.
Wait a second.
How would
where
you
is
sing the Vayahi?
Vayehi.
Hey, the method to the madness.
That's without the munah.
But that's
Right.
what I'm doing.
But the
Not
dot,
everyone
but the
has
dot
it.
means it's a revi'i.
Sometimes they don't have it.
Okay,
Okay.
But the dot
So
is the
then
revi'i.
this
That's
would be what note is that?
that's the
that would be a
Kadma.
pashta.
Pashta, because it's at the end.
at the end.
Wait.
So-
I haven't got that.
So munach pashta.
Oh, because it's at the
It's
end.
at the end.
Right.
Of the word. Okay.
So how did you do the Pashta? It came after a mapach. You had a mapach. It came,
Pashta.
okay,
Pashta.
Pashta. So how would you sing achar?
Achar.
And then you have a munach zakef katon. Okay, how did you do munach? That's
No.
right. Munach zakef katon. So how would you do hadvarim ha'ela?
Hadvarim.
No, there you're going to repeat either. This is
Oh.
zakef katon. So this is hadvarim munach, and then you have your zakef katon ha'ele. Another little hint here. The trope note will indicate where the emphasis is of the syllable on the word, right? So instead of ha'ele or ha'ele, it's ha'ele. So you know that the emphasis is over here. And that would be hadvarim ha'ele. Now here you have, and then I'm going to leave you alone. This one right here, the ha'elohim, notice on the same word, you have the munach and the zakef katon.
Oh, okay.
So it would be Veha Elohim. So you have both symbols on one word. Oof. Oof.
That's why we came to
Okay.
class.
So we will continue this next week. Are you all going to come back? Oh, you had
How many
enough.
did you scare away?
You had
Yeah,
enough.
I
Okay,
can
well,
have comments.
Oh, you are? Okay. Well,
We'll come back with a
it'll be
cold break.
recorded.
You can
You're not
zoom
going to, you can't get away from us too long. Are you only gone 1 week? Okay.
You can
All right.
zoom in.
Everybody else coming back?
Yeah. I
I'll be
will.
here.
I'll
I'm
be on
coming
video,
back.
hopefully.
Yeah. I'm coming back. You didn't scare me yet.
Right.
All right. Loretta, be safe out there.
I will.
All right. And
you.
I hope you'll be able to sign in next week. And then look forward to working with you on a little passage that Rabbi Fournier tells me to look at. So we'll get you up and running. You'll be the top Torah reader at Beth Shalom B'nai Zaken. Okay? Take care. Have a good day.
You also.
Thank you.
I can make little flashcards just with the little.
Yeah, see, that's why I did
And
these
Yeah, I
meaning for
know.
all.
to make my combos, so I could count out the combos. I need to know the combos.